Well, this ought to be an interesting project. This is a 1970 Triumph TR6. Uh, Belonged to a young man who passed away. His sister kept the bike for years and years and years, moved several times around the country, and finally brought it to me. She wants me to put it back together, make it pretty, and basically in honor of her brother. So it's going to be a fun project, an interesting project. It is a 1970. I'll show you how you can tell real quick. This is the last of the small frame bikes. In 71, they went to oil and frame. And in 1970 was the only year they put this triangular front motor mount to hold the motor in the frame. This way you could take the triangular mounts off and take the motor out sideways rather than having to lift it in and drop it in place. It made it really, really nice. Of course, they only did that 1 year, 1970. So it makes it easy to recognize, and it's a darn shame that they didn't continue the small frame bike because it's considered to be the best Triumph ever made. I said that for a lot of years. Frankly, I don't believe it anymore because the oil and frame bike is sturdier. The 650s, the 750s are just sweet motorcycles, much stronger, much more solid, all around better bikes. But we purists still look at the 70 as the ultimate Triumph. This was the one you could chop and turn it into a really cool chopper. I'll show you my chopper, which also happens to be a 1970. That's up here on the wall. We'll take a quick look at it, and you'll be able to see what I did to a poor Bonneville back in 1970. So anyway, before I turn around and show you my bike, the parts for this bike are all up here on the wall. The top two rows up there are fenders and gas tank and oil tank and all the bits and pieces in all those boxes, very nicely sorted, pipes and everything. So all that stuff in the top two rows is going to come down and land gently upon this motorcycle. We'll see what kind of progress we make today. And now I'm going to spin around and show you why we always felt that the 70 was the ultimate motorcycle. Let's see if I can get in here. A lot of reflection. That's my 1970 Triumph, and that's at the World of Wheels Motorcycle Show in 1975. And I'm going to turn these lights out and try this again. Here's a close-up of the photo of my 1970 Triumph chopper. In 1975 at the World of Wheels Custom Car and Bike Show in Washington, D.C. I took first place in mild custom. Very proud of that. The fun part was that I have 4 brothers who were also into motorcycles. We all built choppers, we all rode together, and my chopper was considered to be the lesser of the 5 because I didn't have a lot of chrome on it. Mine was very understated. Theirs were really fancy, all kinds of cool stuff. So when the show was coming around, we always went every year. We went to the World of Wheels Motorcycle Show. I mailed in for an application to put my bike in the show without telling my brothers. And then I waited to about 2 days before the show to tell them, oh, by the way, I got my bike in the show, which really irritated them because they'd never thought to do that. So the bike went in the show. It took first place in mild custom. I got a trophy that's about 3 feet tall, and this little plaque was the only thing that I've got from that trophy anymore. The trophy dragged it around the country for several dozen years before finally giving up. But I put my bike in first. Now, subsequent to that, they all put their bikes into the show, and other shows and shows and shows and more shows, and they had trophies all around their offices and homes, and I only had one. And they would say, you've only got one, we've got dozens. And I'd say, yes, but mine was the first one. So little brotherly competition there. And that's yours truly, looking really good in a velour jacket over plaid bell-bottom pants in 1975. My. Well, we got most of the parts down off of the shelves over there. We've left the gas tank and the oil bottle. No oil bottles here. The gas tank and the pipes are still up there along with the seat. These are the, shall we say, smaller parts, bits and pieces that we're going to be installing on the bike. It's a big jigsaw puzzle. All the way up to here are parts that came with the bike from the owner. And this box here is all the parts that I found we needed, as far as I could tell when I made the order. A whole lot of bits and pieces to finish the project. So basically what we have here is a really nice jigsaw puzzle, and it's just going to be a ball putting all this stuff together. So let the games begin. We'll see what we get done today. Well, it was a good day. Got some work done. The bike is starting to come together. We installed the battery box, the oil tank, the fender brace. All of that was fun, fitting it together. I'll walk over here. We frankly got tired of digging through boxes and bits and pieces and piles of parts, so we brought a table out and laid everything out that we have so far, waiting to go onto the bike. That's a big help, just to have everything laid out where we can get at it nicely. So that's a big help. We'll just pan over here for a moment and take a look over here. Here's the oil bottle in place very nicely. And I took some S100 and sprayed the engine down and then sprayed it with cold water. By the way, if you've never used S100, it's magic. You spray it onto your cold engine, make sure your engine is cold, spray the S100 on, maybe brush it around a little bit, and then rinse it off with cold water. Cold water, never hot, never on a hot engine, and it just does a beautiful job, beautiful job. All right. What else did we do today? We put the head steadies on. We it sounds like so little for, for the amount of effort it took. But anyway, it was a good morning. One last thing. We started to rebuild the carburetor, and yeah, it can't be really rebuilt. It's in bad shape because it's been over torqued when putting together, and the slide doesn't. The slide is supposed to slide, and it doesn't. If you look around the edge, you can see the gap on this side of the bore, and then come over here and see the gap on that side, very tight, a little loose, very tight. This is because the carb has been over tightened, and this flange is bent, and when it bends the barrel. I'll show you something interesting. Would you pull that out? Mm-hmm. Thank you. Let's take it over here to the flat surface and put this here and just see how it rocks. That surface that I've got it on, this is a flat surface, and this is supposed to be a flat surface, but it's not. So this carburetor is over torqued and bent internally. It's a shame, but that's what happens. Gas lines are waiting. Mag pickup for the ignition is waiting, and we have the new float. That's nice. And I think we'll buy a new carburetor. Anything else that we've done?
Not today, no.
All right, it's a good day. So tomorrow we'll do something. I don't know what. So progress has been made, and I hear a cup of coffee calling my name.